Wednesday, the 16th of April, 1746. The weather? Sleet. The temperature? Cold. The wind? Strong. You guys are currently standing where the front line of the Jacobite army stood, represented by the blue flags. On the day of the battle, 5,000 Jacobite soldiers were positioned in this location. Tired, hungry, exhausted after a failed night attack, weaponry not up to standards, low morale. At around 11 o'clock, the government army arrived and the front line lined up where the red flags are. 8,000 men in total. Well fed, well rested, eager to fight, weaponry up to standards, high morale. When they arrived, the Jacobites were still stumbling into position. The two armies stared each other down for about an hour or so. Cumberland ordered members of the Argyll militia, Scottish clansmen loyal to his cause, to break down sections of Culloden enclosure. This then allowed Hawley's dragoons, the cavalry, to sneak through and begin an outflanking manoeuvre. The Jacobites then rushed to defence, using their second line to deal with it, to basically stare down this outflanking manoeuvre. They did the exact same thing on the Jacobite left. The Argyll militia then took up position behind Culloden enclosure, with orders to shoot into the Jacobites when they attack. Finally, battle began at around 12:30, when the Jacobite artillery in this location opened fire and missed. They overestimated their trajectory and their cannonballs went right behind the government lines. And the Jacobites only recently got a hold of their cannons, so they were quite new to them. They could fire a shot every 5 minutes. The government army responded by firing their own cannons, straight into the Jacobite front line. The government army had fewer cannons than the Jacobites on the day of the battle, but they knew how to use them. They could fire a shot every 40 seconds. They were quick to overwhelm the Jacobite artillery and then began firing into the Jacobite regiments. Now, a clan regiment is made up of clansmen, so the chief would be at the front with his brothers to his side, behind them his sons, behind them grandsons, and so on. So those clansmen, the Jacobites in the front line, are seeing their best friends, their family, being blown apart right in front of them. The Jacobites were left standing here for about 20 minutes with given no order. Charles did, however, give the order to attack, but the messenger he sent was decapitated by a cannonball. Finally, the order for the Highland Charge was given. Now, every time the Jacobites have used the Highland Charge, they have won. The entire front line of the Jacobite army charges as one massive wall of flesh and crashes into the government army. This has always worked until the Battle of Culloden. The Jacobites have always won every battle with a Highland Charge, so why did it not work at Culloden? They can't really run that fast on a big boggy field. The Jacobites on the left were slowed down by incredibly boggy ground. You think this is boggy? Apparently it was even worse on the far side of the battlefield. The Jacobites in the centre, roughly where we are, tried to find better footing and started to collide with the Jacobites on the right. Effectively, the entire right side of the Jacobite army was being bottlenecked into one certain area. As the Highland Charge got to around 200 metres, the government artillery changed their ammunition. Instead of firing cannonballs, they fired canister shot. Imagine a baked bean tin filled with musket balls and bits of shrapnel, turning the cannon into one gigantic shotgun. It was not intended to kill your opponent, but to maim them. You would target the legs, causing immense pain and immediate disability. Culloden was apparently the first and last time the Jacobites ever came across canister shot.